This episode is brought to you by Film Festival Hacks, the online course festival directors tell us they wish every filmmaker could see before they start submitting to festivals. Filmmaker Alex Ferrari, veteran of more than 200 film festivals, joins festival expert Chris Holland for more than 4 hours of behind-the-scenes stories, tips, and easy tricks to make your journey on the festival circuit more enjoyable and more affordable. To save money, play your film at more festivals, and get a better understanding of how film festivals work, visit filmfestivalhacks.com.
Hey, this is Chris Holland, and you're listening to another episode of the Film Festival Secrets podcast. So today I want to talk a little bit about licensing music for your film. In particular, what will happen sometimes is that a filmmaker will approach the owner of the rights to the music, and the rights holder will say, hey, we can give you just the festival rights and it'll be cheaper. And that means that you'll only have the rights to the music when the film plays at festivals. The thinking being that, why pay for worldwide rights in perpetuity until you need them, right? You can always come back and get those rights later when your film gets a distribution deal or something like that. And I want to warn you that this can be kind of a trap. It can make sense for some short films, especially if this is a short film you're only ever going to play at festivals, but you're probably not going to release it on YouTube and you're not going to do anything else with it. But even then, it sort of, makes it harder when you do want to play the film elsewhere. You have to go back and negotiate those rights at the very least. For a feature film, the real danger is that, you pay a little bit of money for these festival rights, and then you go back and you say, okay, we got a distributor, we need the full rights now. And the rights holder goes, oh, wait a second, now, they're smelling the money. Now there's somebody who wants the film, and that means they have some negotiating leverage over you to pay more for those rights. So at that point, you're sort of caught between a rock and a hard place. Either you pay the inflated fee for the rights, or you try and replace the song in the film, which could be difficult, could change the tone of that scene significantly, and that might not make the distributor very happy, right? And a lot of filmmakers kind of figure, well, doesn't the distributor pay for those rights, like when they acquire the film? And the answer is no, they don't. They expect that when you hand the film over to them, all of the rights to the music are going to be taken care of. So that's not something they're going to pay for, down the line. Distributors generally want to pay for as little as possible before they start selling the film. For that reason, I recommend that when you go into a licensing situation, you say that you want rights that are as long-term and as all-inclusive as you can get or as you can afford from the very beginning. That way, you don't have to go back and negotiate more rights later, and because the music rights holder has no idea whether your film's going to be any good or not, their incentive is just to make a sale, to close the deal right then and, make what money they can from you at this point when you have relatively little money to offer, instead of taking a chance that if what you want is those rights now or you're going to go to another song, then it's, this little bit of money right now or nothing at all. And most times they'll just go for what they can get at the moment. All right. So having said all that, I want to tell you very explicitly that I am not a lawyer. So, there's a lot of confusing terms around the different kinds of rights you can obtain, sync rights and master rights and mechanical rights and all of that. And, I have sort of a basic grasp of it, but I don't understand in detail all the subtleties of all that stuff. So unless you yourself are the composer, you want to consult with an attorney or a music supervisor who has experience in entertainment law and intellectual property law to make sure you're making the best decisions. I published this same sort of talk on the web as a blog entry, and if you look at the show notes, you'll be able to see a link to that. And after I published that, a music composer for films got in touch with me and said, yeah, or they can just hire me instead. That's the reason that film composers exist. And I agree with that. And I actually asked him to be on the podcast. So he'll be coming up in a later episode. But for the moment, even if you do have a composer, I think it's probably worth engaging the services of an attorney for a few hours just to make sure that you've got, all the contracts and right stuff that you need and nothing gets hung up later. Okay, that is my little bit of wisdom for the day. Like I said, you can see this online written up. Just look in the show notes, which should be linked from the podcast you're listening to, but you can go to filmfestivalsecrets.com and search for festival rights. That should pop right up. You can also download a PDF of that article to share it with friends. If you are looking for more information on the festival circuit and the kinds of things like this you're going to need, I highly recommend that you get yourself to filmfestivalhacks.com, which is an online course that I recorded with filmmaker Alex Ferrari. Alex is the creator of Indie Film Hustle, and he's also a filmmaker who's had films in more than 200 festivals. So that, I think, is a really good, sort of brain dump of information. It's about 4 hours of video split into, 10 and 12-minute chunks so you can sort of absorb it at your own pace. And I'm really proud of the job we did on it. So filmfestivalhacks.com, check that out. And otherwise, I'll see you next time here at the Film Festival Secrets Podcast.